All right, we are live. Hello, listeners, and welcome back to Sweet Stories. Today, we are delighted to be joined by Tristan Queen, CEO and co-founder of Arcade Belts. With an innovative approach that blends fashion with functionality, Tristan has established Arcade Belts as the market leader in the belt industry. His strategic use of technology in business operations has played a significant role in Arcade Belt's success. From early stages, we'll dive into his background and excited to see some of the valuable insights Tristan's going to be providing us today. I'm Louis Ball at Nuage, joined with my co-host Gina. Gina,
Hi,
I think
everyone.
we can go ahead and jump on in. Tristan, it's great to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Hi, everyone. Let's dive into it with Tristan. Thanks for jumping on. Wanted to start by asking if you could tell us a little bit about your journey and how Arcade Belts came to be. Any backstories? We'd love to hear.
Absolutely. Mine's very much the founder story, not really knowing what we were getting into. And if we had, maybe would have done it differently. So very genuine from the ground up, no business school education. I wasn't trained at a larger organization. I didn't, have exposure to business structure or tech or setting up systems or organizations. So late 20s and some elbow grease was how it all started. And we really just were trying to solve a problem for ourselves. We lived a lifestyle that was based around activity, sport, travel. The work we were doing was just to finance that lifestyle. And we found a piece of equipment that was really overlooked, easy to kind of devalue the belt category. But we found a huge opportunity to reimagine it, build something from scratch that worked better, was more versatile, lightweight, and fit our lifestyle. So very much kind of the founder brick by brick journey, which is now 14 years long.
And Tristan, as you all have kind of found a niche in the belt space, and I think kind of the school of hard knocks, figuring it out on your own. Can you tell us a little bit about your technology journey? I mean, you certainly seem to be at the forefront of all things tech these days.
Yeah, we started at the very opposite end of the spectrum. I'm not particularly a early adopter with tech personally, and our company in the early days was probably as far on the other end of the spectrum as you could be. So it was very much a step-by-step journey. We identified things along the way that were really always just customer centric. We needed a new system in order to do business with a partner that was out of our league, maybe one of the premier online retailers in our industry. Or there was a way that people wanted to transmit information back and forth to the company, and we didn't have a system for that. And then the real turning point was just the ERP need of keeping all of our information organized in one place, starting to establish an ecosystem where I think we have at least 10 integrations with NetSuite at this point. Mm-hmm. So for us, it was always responding to the customer need and wanting to be able to do business with people where and when they wanted us to be there, available for them. So we certainly weren't trying to set out and reinvent how business is done. It was always kind of nice that we would realize we needed a solution. We'd look for one, and someone had created it, someone in the tech space. And I think it's really important to recognize we make a physical product, we manufacture it, we transport it, and then we distribute it. So it's not software as a service. So we really use tech as a backbone to help us, with our primary focus, which is manufacturing and distribution of physical product.
Right.
So as much as we try to be on the forefront now, it's really just to respond to the marketplace and be available when and where people need us to be.
And being in Olympic Valley, an area near and dear to my heart, kind of having grown up there, you've got one of the most difficult, kind of the best skier, snowboarder population right behind you in your backyard. When individuals are coming out, are you kind of putting them through the ringer on the mountain to loosen them up a little bit and intimidate them? Or can you tell us a little bit about your presence in the Palisades kind of alpine space?
Sure. We're maybe it's a bit more kinder, gentler approach these days. But in the early days, we really felt like it was such a core part of our brand. I'm a brand and product guy. Those that are most interesting to me. And so when we would, bring people out, it was really just to convey this sense of place. Our backyard is where we test products. It's where we get inspiration. We have a lot of this kind of movement as medicine mentality here, where it's at the core of what we do. And we really want to walk it like we talk it. We don't want to sell these adventurous dreams and then, live a different lifestyle. It just creates a lot of cross currents. But yeah, in the early days, I would say it was a positive selling point because investors, shareholders love the idea of coming out here to visit a company they invested in. And the other side, it was how are you going to design an entire category and compete at a global level from the base of a ski area in Lake Tahoe. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword, but we've proven that there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of people out here that work the same way. It's not just unique to us or our area. A lot of people are really passionate about the outdoors or an activity or a place that they want to live, but they're driven and motivated and educated. And so we've had to, kind of cherry pick those people out of what we like to call the dedicated dirt bag, which I say fondly because I have a little bit of that in me still.
Well, we all do. At least I do. I think Gina can attest. She's the same way.
Yes, definitely. And you've been clearly successful in navigating this digital transformation with Arcade Belts, whether it be organic or as customers' needs progress. Could you maybe share a few key ways that the technology has impacted the business more on your customer engagement or overall growth?
Absolutely. Our industry is a little particular in that we still have independent core specialty shops that write their orders on paper and send it in an envelope with a stamp. They also send their payment via handwritten pen and ink check via the postal service. But we have to build a business where we can absorb. That's a customer to us, a retailer, all the way to the other end of the spectrum where you have, the national accounts or the big fish like an REI or similar businesses where everything's done via EDI. So it's electronic transfer of information, and the responsibility is on us to be able to be a successful partner to them. So we have to do the entire scope. So tech has played a role in that. If we want to do business with the big guys, we have to meet them at their level. And sometimes how we adopt tech, the playbook is just laid out right in front of us. And sometimes we have to problem solve. So for us, it's just making sure we can do this broad spectrum and then keep all the information organized. And kind of like I said before, like create this ecosystem. So for example, a B2B portal where a retailer can enter an order on their own time from their couch. And how many manual processes can we move from that data getting into our system? So it's particular to our industry, but I would just say the most specific to how we run our business is just the spectrum that we have to operate in.
Yeah, it sounds like your customers are pretty diverse and you have to meet their needs where they're at. So using technology, to bring them along and help your business and increase those efficiencies, which you'll see that on the ROI side.
Very much. Yeah. I mean, limited resources, right? It's a staff of 20, but we're doing 750,000 units a year globally. So we're dealing with international, you're dealing with direct to consumer nuances. And then the entire conversation about how you communicate to customers and the tech there, social media, those types of things. That's a whole other conversation that involves tech, but it really does become this big ecosystem about operationally, just needing to show up for our customers. We always say operational excellence for us is it keeps us in business because everyone's expecting us to not meet their standards. have any red flags. If you're going to try, if you're going to take a chance on a small business in an interesting category, and we don't have a ton of weight to swing, famous CEO or ambassador that everybody knows, we got to show up as an operation. We got to be on time, the correct product, the correct documentation, the correct paperwork, whether it's directly to a customer or to a retailer.
Interested in that vein, the flexibility, the nimbleness of your organization. What are some things you're pretty excited about over the next couple of years? What are some things you're starting to maybe dip your toes into that you're pretty excited about?
Yeah, I would say for us, we're really in the scale phase. We've created a lot of systems over the last 2 years, so we're going to now stress test those. We made a ton of investments into these platforms. I would say two things. One of them is we never really had a dedicated operations department at Arcade. That's something that we stood up recently. It was always sort of a shared responsibility. So new talent in-house is going to help us. The fact that most of the platforms that we're looking to bring on board we've already done that. So now we get to stress test them and scale. And I would say internally, I'm most excited just about achieving some clarity. We realized that NetSuite in particular is such a dynamic platform that even in an organization our size, as small as we are, 20 employees, that everybody can be looking at different data and you don't even realize it. So I was most excited about maybe unlocking the real potential of these tools that we've brought on. We're all looking at the right data, or hey, it'd be nice to see that could inform our business strategy, but we have no idea where it exists within our tech. So I'd say that is starting to optimize the tech we have, as opposed to this more daunting task of we have a lot of things that need to be onboarded.
No, that's a great answer.
No doubt. Really, also, can you maybe share a book or a resource or an individual maybe that significantly influenced your approach on business and strategy?
That one's a little tricky. Most of my mentors are more doesn't relate to tech in any way. More.
That's okay. You can share that.
I'd be remiss. So very early on, one of our investors was Santiago Aguirre. Him and his brother founded Reef Sandals. They took it from a small little folding table at a trade show and two surfing brothers from Argentina to just a globally recognized legacy brand that has, sold was VF now it's Deckers. Just a great success story, but did it in a very similar way to us. So aspirational, and he's helped me a lot along the way. And then for a book, I was thinking about it. So the book Crossing the Chasm, it's really cliche, but it's about how to sell innovative tech to the masses. And the most dog-eared book I have. It's the most easy to digest business book I have, because there's not a lot of time to, do a lot of high level stuff. As far as reading and education, for me, it's more, the days are pretty packed. But that book, Crossing the Chasm, I think relates to business strategy, tech adoption, and it really just defines who are you selling to? And it forces you to look in the mirror every step of the way. Are you selling to the innovators and the early adopters that they're always willing to try the newest phone or the newest tech before anyone else? Or are you selling to people that are a bit more, they want things tested out first, and maybe they're a bit more susceptible to buyer's remorse? So can you create a comfort level for them? So that book, I always recommend, because I think everyone will get a little something out of it, and most people already cruise through it a couple times.
And Tristan, I wanted to ask, it's funny. So my brother's in Denver, and he always jokes how every single person in Denver is wearing an Arcade belt. Brand loyalty is exceptionally strong with Arcade belts. What's the secret sauce? What do you think went into creating such a strong brand loyalty?
Yeah, I think a lot of it starts with product. If we don't want to sell snake oil, and for us, it goes back to the origin story. the options for belts, if you are active and you wear, your pants stretch now, a button-up shirt stretches now, everything's comfortable and moves with you. And there was just, then you've got this fake leather or a tie-down strap or a Boy Scout belt. So I think it all comes back to functionality. We wanted to solve that problem, and we wanted to design a category. And I think category design is just a different approach to business. And if you design a category successfully, usually a lot of competitors then fill the space next to you. Yeah. But then I would say, as far as the loyalty, the belt does most of the work. And then that buzzword authenticity, again, staying, walking across the street to the resort or biking out the backyard, keeps us connected to that audience. Denver's an active town. Those people live in pretty dynamic lifestyles. So if we can show up with brand and product and then not fumble the ball as far as delivery of message and product, then I think that stuff all comes together.
Thank you. That's great insight, and want to thank our audience. This has concluded our episode of Sweet Stories, and very insightful. We want to thank you, Tristan, for joining us today and sharing your valuable perspectives. For our listeners, if you're looking to navigate your own digital transformation journey, remember, you don't have to do it alone. Whether you're just starting to consider cloud solutions or need expert guidance, our team at Nuage can help. Before we wrap up, Tristan, kind of want to give you the last word. Anything you'd like to share to the audience? Any recommendations? Anything that comes top of mind?
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a shameless plug. We genuinely appreciate the support we get from Nuage, and
I was hoping for that, Tristan.
I mean it honestly, and I think it kind of relates to some of those other questions you asked. NetSuite is such a dynamic platform, and there's so many integrations we have. I don't want to spend my time becoming an expert in that space. And I realize that customizations of that platform are almost essential for every business, and that the out-of-the-box solutions or NetSuite stock support systems, we're running into dead end after dead end after dead end. And we kind of felt like there was this ceiling where we had this they always say it's like having a Ferrari and only using it to drive to the grocery store. That's what it felt like. So I would say, if you want to focus on your business and focus on what you're best at, what your team's best at, having great support to teach you what you don't know, or like I said, like visibility and efficiency within the system, we won't be able to accomplish that without support. So we're very deliberate about seeking it out, and it's something I recommend to my peers that are also on the platform that seem to struggle from the same thing. There's a lot of smoke coming out of people's ears of, how do I use this thing? I know it's powerful, but I just can't. I can't figure it out.
Well, that's perfect. Well, thank you, Tristan. We appreciate your time today. Thank you to our listeners. Hope everybody has a great day.